direct from the web, it's Billy Masters Live. And now, please welcome your host, Billy Masters.
I'm already laughing. Hello, welcome to Billy Masters Live. I am, of course, your host, Billy Masters. Welcome. Oh my God, there's like crazy amounts of people watching live. Usually we get the replays, and I know why you're all here. So just calm down. We'll get to her in a minute. I have to get a little closer. Okay, good. There we go. Welcome to Billy Masters Live. I am, of course, Billy Masters. Today, put it on. Thank you. I didn't even have to tell them today. Today is Thursday, August 13th. This is, I can't even believe this. This is our 40th show. Now, I'm no math whiz, but I think it's around 20-something weeks of captivity that we're in. And every once in a while, I think to myself, if the world is coming to an end and all that survives is my computer, and some archaeologists in decades, millennia later find it, and they think they're getting a document of what this time was like from these shows, they are going to be completely baffled because all we do is laugh. And there's going to be a lot of laughing today, but I promised you I would tell you about next week's shows. So, reunion week on Billy Masters Live on Tuesday for the first time ever. So it's like a reunion, but like first time. Everything about the genesis of the musical review, Naked Boys Singing. The theater producer who put it together, the directors, choreographers, the composers, the stars. We're going to find everything out about Naked Boys Singing, and the longest running review, I think nothing's running right now, but I think it's the longest running review. I think it's still in New York when pandemic ends. And then on Thursday, oh my God, this is the first time ever anywhere. An all-star hairspray show with the Tracy from the movie, Nikki Blonsky, and the Link from the TV version, Garrett Clayton, and other guests, and they'll be performing in a seat. I just can't even tell you. And I'm exhausted because there's a lot of people putting together. The Naked Boys Singing, there's like 10. There's 10 for hairspray. It's crazy. Anyway. Okay, so I always share an anecdote at the beginning of the show. I will share that I went to Provincetown last night. I drove down in the afternoon. I went to see Edmund Bagnell do his show. He plays the violin at 7 o'clock. And then I stayed and saw Varla Jean Merman and Judy Gold together. Amazing, weird, nice to go see a show and kind of pretend like things are normal. I could have done today's show down the Cape, but I didn't want to because you had to bring the lights and the mic and so anyway, I just drove back. I'm doing the show. Then I'll go back to Provincetown later tonight. So I'll tell you all about Provincetown next week. Fans send me things all the time. And a fan wrote me an email this week and said to me, I just found a picture with you and Olivia Newton-John. And I said, oh, okay. Yep, send it to me. This is the picture this fan sent me. Now, you can barely see, but do you see that eye over there? That's my eye and half of my nose. That's it. And this is what somebody sent me to let me know, oh, a picture of you and Olivia Newton-John. Look, this is a picture of me and Olivia Newton-John. Not that. This is nothing. What do I need this for? Olivia Newton-John has been, she's been on the show. I hosted her at LA Gay Pride. We did an event in New York as well. Lovely person. Keep sending me things when you find them, because maybe it's something I actually will want to look at. That picture, not so much. But someone they always want to look at is our first guest. I am looking at the numbers. She has the best fans. Oh my God. I told her before, the time Fran Drescher was on this show, still to this day, is the highest viewed show out of 40 shows. And that's like with the like, there have been a lot of really big people. Fran Drescher is the one you people want to see. So why am I even talking to you when I could talk to the fabulous Fran Drescher?
Hi, Billy. How are you?
Hi, sweetheart.
Everybody watching me on their computers.
They love you. You are beloved. You have vehement fans.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm very grateful to them. And, you know, I wanted to share with everybody that there was a documentary made about my life that's going to be on this Sunday on the REELZ network at 10 p.m. and Eastern time. And I hope that everybody tunes into it. It really turned out good, Billy. I mean,
And I'm in your own words.
Yeah, I was very touched by it. I mean, they gave it that title. And of course, I do a lot of talking about my life, but then so does Peter, so does my parents, so does Donna Dixon, our dear friend Judy, who was with us when we were accosted in our own home. You know, it's just, I talk very candidly about my cancer survival, my rape survival, and about how we together can start living the cancer schmancer way so that, you know, we can reduce our risk of all kinds of disease, but especially during this time of the COVID pandemic.
Now, how are you, first off, you're still in California, you're still kind of quarantined. Have you been able to go out and resume even a little bit of your life?
Not really. I mean, I'm kind of, you know, vulnerable, I guess. And I'm spending a lot of time bolstering my immune system, making sure that I'm taking a lot of zinc and D3 and vitamin C. I've made, you know, home delivery a fine art. I adopted a rescue dog just days before the world went mad. Yes, Angel Grace, I called her. And so I rescued her, and then she rescued me, because once we went into lockdown, you know, I was kind of here by myself in Malibu, which is not the worst place to be locked down.
No. But it is isolated.
My home.
Yeah.
And I have a vast view of the Pacific, so it's hard to get cabin fever. I have taken her for some walks where I wear my mask, and I do have some middle-aged scaredy cats that live as conservatively as I am, come over for lunch or an early sup. Today I have two gals coming over at 4.
Oh, great.
We're gonna have dinner early. And I'm enjoying cooking. I'm enjoying gardening, which I always liked arranging cut flowers in the home. But the gardening I kind of left to my houseman. And now I'm doing it, and I'm really getting a lot of pleasure out of it. And I go down.
And you're seeing the results.
Yes. And I want to plant tomatoes. I don't know how well they'll do on the beach, but I want to try.
Why not?
And I do have some herbs growing, basil and rosemary and mint. And the dog runs on the beach. So when the tide is low, I take her down on the beach. And that's another gift that she's giving me, because I never went down that much. I liked my deck and I liked looking at the ocean, but I never really had a strong inclination to go down on the beach. And now I go down almost every day. So she has a place to run freely, and it's really special. It's a special time, good and bad. But like with everything, I've learned the hard way that, there are always silver linings to even the darkest clouds. And we have to really seek out the tiny miracles that abound all about us and play the hand that's been dealt us.
Right. What choice do you have?
And vote. Vote.
Yes.
Vote.
You were supposed to have your Cancer Schmancer cruise in New York in the spring, which obviously got canceled, but you got so creative and did a virtual event, virtual cabaret.
There's a silver lining in that too, because even though people weren't wanting to get on a cruise ship for dinner, because it was virtual, we got to get some really big stars like Bette Midler and Patti LuPone and the whole cast from Ain't Too Proud, the Temptation story. And, you know, of course, my beloved Peter, my gay ex-husband, who is a marvelous singer. And he's like our mascot. He's always at our singing fundraising events. And so, you know, and they were great people. We were just talking about Judy Gold, who you saw the other day. And she did fantastic stand-up. And Renee Taylor did a little bit of her comedy act too. So, you know, it's a diverse group and everyone was super talented and very generous to give their time. And we did kind of well. So I'm grateful because all nonprofits right now are trying to find ways to raise money. And so I am now on Cameo. So if any of your viewers want me to do a personal message for them or their loved ones, all they have to do is find me on Cameo, and all the proceeds go to cancerschmancer.org.
Oh, that is so great. You know, I think that, you know, that's one of the things about this pandemic is people have, aside from learning new things about themselves, they've learned skills. They are sort of saying, how can I reach people? Oh, I'll learn Cameo. I'll learn how to do these broadcasts.
That's right.
I think
that's what happens, you know, out of necessity comes invention, right?
Absolutely. And I look,
it's a new world order. I mean, there are jobs that have been created that we never did before. Yeah. What my houseman? Wait, my carpenter is here.
Yes. Well, we know about the camper. That's okay. I'll talk to them. Go ahead. Go.
Take you with me. So
oh my God, we're gonna say. Oh Jesus. So Fran's got a carpenter was supposed to be there early, but they came late. Shh, don't say anything. All right, what's happening? Those are the plants. Oh, now she's muting. She doesn't want us to hear. That's okay. I'll tell you what.
This is interior. This is
oh, okay. Hi. Carpenter is there. Hello. Oh, look, he's wearing a mask. Good.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I've got the door.
Oh, there's Angel.
Yeah, I'm going to show you Angel.
I was just going to ask you. Good.
Yeah, come here. I want you to show how gorgeous you are, Angel.
Well, I saw her when you first got her. I got to see how she's changed.
Look at her. Angel.
Oh, Angel, look over here at Uncle Billy. Oh,
yeah, sit down.
No.
Sit, good girl.
There's the baby.
Down, good girl.
Oh my God.
Good girl. Yes, she's a big girl.
She's listening to you too.
Yeah, she's becoming more and more. I mean, she's too big. She has to be very obedient. Okay,
and it's funny.
Augie, are you done over there? So what now? You're finished. Okay. So is the side gate locked? Yeah. Okay, so let me just let you out here. It'll be easier for me.
Go ahead, sweetie. Go ahead.
Look how nice the house is.
Oh my God, so clean.
Oh yeah, that's another thing I discovered about myself. I'm a good, I'm what they call a balabusta. Okay,
you're doing it all yourself. Look at that.
And I'll buzz the gate after I close the door behind you.
It's $80 with the paint because I brought the paint and the.
Oh Jesus.
And the texture.
Yeah.
The outside is $80 for all the labor and the material.
Okay, great. So what did we do? Did I Venmo you or did I have to write you a check? You know what? Text me how you want me to pay you, and whatever it is, I'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Okay, go inside the gate. Yeah, I'll open the gate as soon as you close this door. You know, this dog.
This is like
a rescue. He got away. She got away once already and got hit by a car. All before okay, so he left. So now we're okay. Come here, let me take you, Lisa. You're the best girl in the world. Mama loves you.
I assume you're talking to her and not me.
I said girl. Do people call you girls?
Well, you never know. I know your husband. So, you know.
Okay.
Your ex-husband.
So now I'll let you out here if you want to go out. Because the on. Look at this. Look.
Let me see. I mean, it's hard to feel quarantined there.
Now, this dog, she went through an odyssey of horror, really. Somehow she got out and got hit by a car. Oh. And the shelter picked her up. and started calling local rescues and said, look, we have what seems like a great dog, but she needs surgery. And we're not in a position to do that. If you want to take her, pick her up. Here she's got a whole busted shoulder and everything.
Oh, really?
Probably in terrible pain. And she doesn't know where she is, what's happening. This angel of a woman who runs a place in Woodland Hills called Rock and Rescue said, we'll take her. I kid you not, $10,000 later, they fixed her up and put her up on Pet Finders. The day they put her up, I was so in excruciating pain because my last dog suddenly had a stroke and dropped dead. I was alone with him, and I'm still traumatized from the whole experience. And I'm still mourning him. But, you know, it's what she doesn't take away the loss, but pulls me into the moment.
Right.
So I don't just dwell in the past all the time.
You have a focus.
Dealing with her, loving her, she's loving me. And so it's healthy. Right. Anyway, it was the middle of the night, Billy, and I was in such agony from my loss, which was so sudden.
Right. I
lifted my arms up to the sky and I said, please, God, help me out of this agony. Help me. And all of a sudden, for whatever reason, divine intervention, I get out of bed. I fire up my computer. I go looking on Pet Finders. I see this girl with one brown eye and one blue eye. They have a little video. They say how incredible she is. Everybody loves her. She's the friendliest dog. And I immediately write down the information. And in the morning, I say to my assistant, let's call and see if this dog is still available, because I don't know.
Yeah.
And they say to me, we only just put it up that day. And yes, she is available. Wait, let me plug in because I see we're low on battery and I don't want to lose you guys.
No, definitely.
Let me see if okay. So I said, I'm gonna drive over to see her. And my girlfriend and I were supposed to have lunch. So I said, look, I got to do this. Come with me.
Oh, good.
And on the drive there, I get a call from a woman. I didn't even recognize who she was, but she was in my contacts. So I must have met her somewhere. And I asked my assistant, who is she? And she said, in contacts, it says she's Chantalin's friend and she's also a psychic. Okay. So I take the call. She said, Fran, I want to give you my condolences. I know how hard that is. Never hear from this woman. Didn't even remember who she was. She says, but I have a very strong feeling that you need to get another dog right away.
And you're on your way.
I'm on my way. Ask Samson, my last dog, to help guide you to the right dog. I said, I can't believe I'm on my way to right now to the rescue place in Woodland Hills. So she says, I have a very good feeling about that. Well, she's a psychic. She calls me on the way saying, I need the dog right away. Now, most people don't get a dog within days of losing a dog.
Right.
But this is where the interesting thing is, because I ended up bringing her home days before the world went mad and the lockdown happened.
So it saved you and her.
I saved her and she saved me, or I would have been all alone for months. All of a sudden, nobody was coming over. My assistant wouldn't come over. My housekeepers wouldn't come over.
And you couldn't have gone to the shelter.
No, the shelter closed down.
Yeah, of course.
The people taking care of the dogs, but nobody could go in from the outside. And this particular shelter, they only give the dog to people that they've already gone to the home and inspected everything.
Oh, sure.
Well, I had that take place, but they wouldn't let me take her like a week or two before because this dog had nothing. She needed to have a chip put in. She needed to be spayed. She needed to get approval from the orthopedic surgeon that she was good to go to get the neck surgery. I mean, what this poor animal was put through. And she doesn't know anybody. She's like bonding with the woman who runs the rescue place.
Because that's all she knows, right?
Right. But I started the day I met her. They walk outside of the building because they don't want the other dogs to go berserk.
Right.
And I hunched down on, on my knees to say hello to her and be more eye level. She pushes me back onto the ground, straddles me, and starts licking my face all over.
Well, that's love.
I said, oh my God, did you ever see a reaction like this? And the guy who worked there said, no, never. Have your girlfriend take a video because we have to show this to the executive director. And you have to fill out a form an application because this dog has just picked you. And I'm like, I'm like scratching her face and tickling her ears. And I said, and they were calling her Snowy. And I said, are you a little angel? Did Samson send you to me? Is that your name, Angel?
See?
And, from that point forward, until they let me take her, I would go there so she'd be familiar with me.
Great.
And they trusted me. They let me start walking her. And then whenever the woman had to take the dog to the surgeon to check her shoulder, I said, could you come to my house on the way with her? And she'll be with you, so she knows you. And this way, when I finally do take her, it's not the first time she's been here.
She's familiar, sure.
She's familiar. She could relax. I always gave her treats. So that was the beginning of a fantastic, beautiful relationship that came out of this time. And I'll tell you, I always had small dogs, but I was
just going to ask you, right? I remember Chester.
But in my heart, I started to feel like I wish I had a walking dog because I'm a distance walker.
Right.
And so now I do.
Yeah, you never walked Chester or Esther for those long walks. They're small little dogs.
No.
You have to carry them.
Esther could walk quite a distance, but not Esther and not Samson. They both were kind of gimpies. Because sometimes with these Pomeranians, they have bad knees.
Right.
And they always suggested that they would do like double knee surgery, but then the dog would have to be crated for like 6 weeks.
Right.
And I thought, this is a puppy. It's a small dog. If they have problems down the road, I'll carry them.
Right. Exactly.
And that's what ended up happening. But
this Angel, you're not going to be able to carry.
You're right, but I have picked her up, but I shouldn't have because I could have hurt myself. But she
do you know how old she is?
Like a lap dog in a way sometimes.
Well, I bet she jumps up and probably just sits on you the whole time. Do you know how old she is?
She walks behind chairs, on top of chairs like a cat.
Oh yeah.
She's very nimble. She likes to climb rocks down on the beach. And I just, she plays with dogs, and I'm working with a trainer because I don't, this dog has to be obedient like a police dog. I want to take her to the airports. I want to take her on trips with me.
Yeah. Are you going to be able to
be my service dog? Sometimes I get, because of all the things I've been through,
of course.
Being alone makes me fearful. So I feel safe with her. And, Samson was a good watchdog, but then what? This one is threatening.
Did you always traveled with all your other dogs? So you're planning on traveling with Angel as well when we can travel again?
Yes. Yes.
Because it's also going to be hard.
Some people that have flown, and I think that the airlines have gotten it down now because
I think so too.
I don't know anybody that's gotten sick as a result of traveling from one state to another.
No.
And I saw on TV that they said that now they change the air every 3 minutes. It's brand new air in the whole plane. And they change the filters twice as often as the manufacturer recommends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
actually
it's you or anything. I think it's just put your mask on, sit your ass down, and shut your mouth.
Right. And
that's okay with me. I mean, I would go first class, so I'll sit by myself,
it's funny. I just got an email. I want to say it was Alaska Airline, and in the email subject said, buy a seat, get a row. And I went, there you go. You're getting a whole row. And they're trying to get people to fly. And I think all the studies say that the air on the airplanes is actually healthier because it's processed better than like a supermarket.
Now it is. They didn't change it this often then, but that's something that they actually needed to do.
Yeah.
People was breathing a lot of recycled air, and people that are sneezing their head off somewhere.
You always got sick. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I went to great measures to keep bolstering my immune system while on the plane and disinfecting surfaces. But they're now doing that, disinfecting it when people get off, disinfecting it, before people get back on. And let's hope that,
life will come back at some point.
Listen, remember when people used to go all the way to the gate to say goodbye to a loved one?
I know.
Or meet you at the gate. You don't do that anymore.
No, you never walk through security. You showed a ticket and you walk.
You didn't have to take your shoes off, do anything like that. No. We got used to it. I mean, it's unfortunate that
but it's the new normal.
More and more regulations like this. But whatever it takes, we'll figure it out. And we'll live life as joyfully as possible under the circumstances.
And you find the joy where you can until then.
Side by side with grief lies joy. I learned that the hard way. It became a life lesson. Really? And when you're in the depths of despair, whatever may be happening to you, and let's face it, Billy, nobody leaves this life unscathed.
True.
We all go through something, and that's part of the journey of becoming more refined. As on your soul's journey, life offers you opportunities to learn, and they're not always easy lessons.
Yeah, and I think that
it's painful. That's why they call it growing pains.
Well, and I think that's what's going on now is that people fight it. Because change is scary. People don't want to change. They don't want to be inconvenienced, but we're at a time where they have to. And
I'm a Buddhist or a Buju, and part of that is learning how to be fluid with change, because we are in a constant state of flux. It's a illusion that we have any control over anything, and we don't know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now, let alone the future. And when life bites you on the ass one random Wednesday afternoon, you are going to kick and scream and say, why me, Lord? But eventually you have to play the hand that's been dealt you as elegantly and courageously as you possibly can.
Yep. We have so many.
Look for the joy.
Have you always been like this? Because I know we're going to see on the documentary how you started, but I mean, to jump into a career from where you came from and just see the possibility had to have been a scary thing. I always think of you as fearless. So it's so interesting.
I am fearless when it comes to the career. But I'm kind of like, I got a very soft underbelly when it comes to, being alone, and putting myself before other people's needs. I'm much better than I used to be. It used to really rule me, both those issues. Now, not as much, but, even this staying home thing, I think for me is easier than for some other people, because I like to be home. Right. Sometimes to a fault. Sometimes I gotta in the old world, it would be like, get up, go out, do something. You don't need to always have someone to do something with. Just go. And I have to talk myself into it. Otherwise, I would just wait until I can make a plan with someone. And that's part of why I wanted to have a big dog, because I love to distance walk, but I wouldn't go unless I could find somebody to go with.
Right.
And now that I have the dog, I'll go with her.
When do you sleep? Because you and I were texting each other last night early in the morning. I'm like, does she sleep more than 3 hours?
Oh, that's interesting. have a very, I mean, since this all started, I have a very weird sleep schedule. And I often think to myself, if I ever get another boyfriend, how can I have somebody sleep with me? Because I could be watching TV at 2 a.m. because I fell asleep at like, 10. And then I'll wake up at like 2, like it's morning. And I'll turn the TV on or something. And then the dog wakes me up at like, 6:30. If I get to sleep until 7:15 or 7:45, it's really a gift.
Yeah, so, I think you texted me at like 6 this morning, and I'm like,
well, today I actually had an on-camera Zoom meeting at 8 a.m. So I had to put on some makeup, and that's why I wanted to do our interview on the same day, because the makeup thing is not like every day anymore.
Well, obviously, what are you going to get made up for? And I forget that. I think to myself, guys, they wake up, they roll over, okay, the hair, and I'm on. And I think to myself, women have to do a little bit, even if they don't want to, they still do something.
Well, my mom is very disciplined about that. She likes to wear makeup. She does her hair. She doesn't like looking at herself without it. I don't mind when it comes to me. And, sometimes I'll say to her, she'll say, oh, it's so beautiful right now. Maybe I'll put on some makeup and get ready and we'll go out. I said, by the time you put on makeup and get ready, it won't be beautiful anymore. Go put your glasses on, put your mask on. Who's looking at you?
Right.
But bless her heart, I think that it's nice when women who are octogenarians still have vanity.
And thank God for them, really, because they set the pace for the rest of us.
Yeah,
we've got so many comments. I want to get you, because I want your fans to know that they start. So Angelica, love you. There you go.
That's nice. Thank you, Angelica. I have a lot of Angelicas in my life now.
Another angel. One. Yeah. Okay. And Sad,
my housekeeper, and I love her. To say she's my housekeeper is such an understatement, but her name is Angelica, and she has a daughter named Angelica.
It's a lot of angels around you.
Angels, so I'm surrounded by loving angels.
Sag says, good morning, Fran. I love you. There's so much love. Emily says, who else is binge watching The Nanny during quarantine? That's a good thing to do.
It is. My parents still they're so happy when it goes on in a big block on Cozy TV.
I love that. You get like 4 in a row.
And you know what? For them, a lot of episodes they're in, or there are people, other relatives are in. It's just nice memories, because back then, it was 25, 27 years ago when we started. They were much younger, and they came out all the time. And it's very, very special memories. And, my grandmother was in it, and my Aunt Frida was in it. And, did I lose you?
No, I'm still here. I can hear you. You're just not seeing me. We'll fix that.
Okay, no problem.
I'm looking at the comments. Let's see. Okay, hold on.
Hello from Brazil.
Yeah, there it is. Yes.
Yeah, I'm watching The Girl from Ipanema. I think it's on Netflix. Very good.
Really?
That's Brazilian.
Yep. Let's see. We've got so many. People from around the world. Okay.
Now I think I love you.
Okay, I'm right here.
Fran. Okay, there you are.
Love you, Fran. Is The Nanny on Broadway still in the works? It's a good question.
Yes. And, because of the current pandemic and the fact that Broadway is shut down for the time being, the powers that be, us, if Peter and I would kindly give an extension of 1 year. No pay.
On the option, And is Rachel Bloom? Is Rachel Bloom still involved?
Yeah, Rachel's great, and she's writing some amazing lyrics. I absolutely love her. She's so talented, and she is so perfect.
Yeah.
This project. And, we blended some of her songs into our book for the first act, and gave it to the director. And now he's working, I think, with her a little bit on doing some rewrites. I mean, we've been rewriting our side of it for like years.
Yeah. And
so
you,
now
you
her
did.
turn. And it'll keep going back and forth, and eventually we'll start working in the same room. And all I can say is it's going to be phenomenal. It's a big Broadway musical, old school style, but with really witty, funny, great lyrics to the songs, and laugh out loud comedy in the book.
Well, the sitcom was like a big Broadway show when you think about
Broadway
it.
show, yeah, without the music.
Right.
But this is even going to be bigger. Because, like if you think about it, it was kind of a mansion they lived in, but all you ever saw was Niles.
Right.
And here we have a big staff who does big chorus numbers and stuff with feather dusters. And, it's like a real big musical.
Somebody says, Ryan says, you should do a skincare line.
Oh, that's so sweet. I briefly had one on HSN.
Oh, really?
It was all natural and came in glass jars.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, it didn't belong there because most of those customers want the instant, results in Super Size Me products and don't really care about how pristine it is. There was a small, dedicated group of people that watched that network and wanted my product, but it was too small to justify me continuing doing it. And so, it's always on my radar that I should try it again because people are always complimenting me on my skin. But I am about to launch a new hair color product called Color Only.
Oh.
And that's going to be very exciting because you can order it from, online, and it's direct sales.
Oh, great.
They also have a storefront that they just opened in South Florida that's going to be like a 30 minutes in and out.
Oh, that would be so great.
And here's the the great thing about it. You only keep it on your hair for 10 minutes.
Oh, no burning.
It's all innovative, and it's a permanent hair dye, but it's translucent. So you see the natural shades to your hair. 10 minutes, wrapped in glass, which environmentally I'm all about.
Right. Cool.
And then also the actuator is not this really harsh peroxide.
That'll burn your hair, right?
The formula that I use since being a cancer survivor, which is enzymes. And that doesn't penetrate the hair follicle. So it doesn't go into your head like peroxide. It just penetrates the hair shaft. So I once went to a hairdresser at a salon in New York when I was desperate, and I was doing, a press tour, and I noticed that my roots was showing. So I walked in, and they were using regular peroxide, and I didn't have my normal product. Now I have it at both my homes on the East Coast and the West Coast, but I didn't have it. The minute he applied it on my head, I kid you not, I tasted metal in my mouth.
Oh my God.
And I swore to myself, I am never doing this again. And so the Color Only people said, we're going to use that actuator because, this product is so state of the art. You can order it online. It'll come to your door every month. It'll be like an automatic thing. It's like you join the club, but it really is just you're paying for what it costs. And it's not like an extra charge. And it comes to your door, and everything's included, and including like little samples of their hair product line that you can put on when you're washing it or whatever. And, 10 minutes later, you're done. So when I use it, I don't do it myself because if I have my hands up here too much, my neck is going to get stiff. So I have my hairdresser come, who does me for publicity and stuff. The first time she tried it, she said, "Oh my God, this is a game changer."
Oh, wow.
So I'm very proud because I turned down a lot of offers.
I'm sure.
Products because they, I got to walk the talk. If I'm not a person of word and deed, who am I?
Right.
I mean, I turned down a big, very lucrative KFC offer.
Really?
But, I don't eat chicken.
So how can you do it?
Organic and pasture raised.
Right, of course.
I don't eat eggs unless it's extremely pristine. I would like to put industrial farming out of business. It's not good for the planet and it's not good for the consumer.
Absolutely.
And, if anybody on the national broadcast was talking about why we have this pandemic, it's because of factory farmed animals and disgusting trafficking of exotic animals. Hello.
Right.
But nobody's doing that because 80% of the ad dollars on national broadcast
come from that, of course.
Big pharma.
Yep,
so they're not going to go tell people, that there's a reason behind this and we could actually change the way we live, the way we eat. We can bolster our immune system. We can become better human beings, healthier human beings.
Right. And happier.
And then we wouldn't be as profoundly affected by this. Some people are completely asymptomatic. Some people get like a flu and then it's over with.
Right.
Other people perish. What's the difference? Some people are sick and other people aren't. Some people have a healthy immune system and other people don't. Right. We talk about this on cancerschmancer.org because we put everything up on it for free, all of our intellectual property. I immediately said to Sue, my executive director, let's do a Corona Care for You interview series.
Good.
Get some really cutting edge doctors to give some really practical ways that you can reduce your risk or avoid getting it completely. And even if you have it, things you can do. So, it always starts on your head.
Right,
and
of course.
You can start attacking it there before it migrates to the lungs. You have to, have your head on straight, be aware of what's going on in your body.
Before you can do it internally.
Right. Right.
Somebody actually, this Angelica, who talked to us earlier, said yesterday, yesterday, I talked to you on a Cancer Schmancer Zoom. I'm very happy about the talk with my idol. I admire you so much and love you, Fran.
Oh, Angelica, thank you so much.
How often are you doing things on the Cancer Schmancer website? Sounds like quite a bit.
Yeah, anybody can go over there. You'll see our Edu series for free. You'll see our Corona Care for You series for free. This is all the most cutting edge, outside of the box doctors. People that, went to medical school, drank the Kool-Aid, started practicing.
Sure.
Then began to think, there's got to be a better way, and got woke and became functional medical doctors. Some with specializations like oncology and gynecology or, whatever. And then some with, that are chiropractors that turn functional medical doctors because they really have
alternative
at the whole body. Alternative, yes.
Right.
And so it's really a new field that honors Asian wisdom, Asian medicine, indigenous wisdom, and looks at the whole body as a system. Because if you're just looking at one part that has a symptom that is sick, that's the equivalent of looking at an apple tree that's yielding rotten apples. What are you going to do? Try and fix each apple? No. You got to look at the trunk. You got to look at the root. Nobody looks at the root cause in modern Western medicine. There was a time culturally where doctors did look at what's wrong. And I think in Asia, they do that. Or if you're lucky enough to get somebody that's connected to that style of thinking here in the Western world.
Well, I remember when you were sick, when you had cancer, I know that you had to go to how many different doctors before you were correctly diagnosed?
8 over 2 years.
That is, and had you stopped at 6, you would be dead.
And how many people go for a second opinion when they're telling
or 8?
Right, you're essentially well.
So people you have to be your own advocate for yourself. That's the one message through the pandemic. I don't care what the person next door is doing across the street. Do what you need to do for yourself.
Yes. Now, I'm so grateful to you, Billy, and to all of your viewers. But
Thank you.
Have a 1 o'clock.
We've gone so long. I know.
All right. But I always enjoy talking to you, so I get
that's okay. It's fine. One question.
Yes.
Because they showed this on the REELZ network. So they're doing little quizzes for your documentary. So let's just do this. Fran and who went to school together and eventually had crossovers on their shows? So Fran,
is that something that I answer?
Because you know who it is, but tell the viewers.
Yeah, that would be Ray Romano.
Yep, and I did not know that.
And we were on TV on the same network at the same time and in the same high school graduating class.
Amazing. Sweetie, I love you. Thank you for coming by. Thanks for running long. Text me 2 a.m. anytime.
How sweet you are. Okay.
Sweetie, take care. God bless.
Thank you, one and all. I really appreciate it. Be well, everybody, and take care.
Okay. Bye, honey. Oh my God, that Fran Drescher. I love her. All right. I know my next guest is sitting there. Oh, wait, now hold on. Okay, there he is. I'm like, okay, he's walking around. He's thinking, when are they going to stop? All right, Fran's gone. People keep watching. We got record viewership. And that's good because I'm not even going to wait to bring on the fabulous Max von Essen. Hey, Maxie.
Hi, how are you?
Oh my God, Max.
I mean, you could do 6 hours with her. I just adore her so much. She's just,
and you don't want to stop her.
No, I didn't want you to stop her.
I mean, I had Wilson Cruz and Judy Gold on the same show, and Judy and I ran late, as of course we would do. And I texted Wilson, "I'm sorry, we're running late." He's like, "I could listen to you two talk forever." So, I think these shows, they're great, especially when you have the long form where you're not confined by a time period, because I think conversation is really lost. And back in the days when the Dick Cavett show was on and you had really in-depth stuff and you got to know people other than a soundbite. Look, I know Fran Drescher's entire medical history at this point. So... but let's tell people before you, because the Fran Drescher people, there's still so many people here. So I want them to know.
This?
Yeah, okay, but before you go, Max von Essen is doing a live stream. Well, it's kind of a live stream. It's a taped live stream, but it's tonight, Thursday night, August 13th on Broadway. Is it BroadwayWorld.com?
Yes, Broadway World.
Okay.
Events.BroadwayWorld.com.
Okay, so go because he is unbelievable. He is an unbelievable. Okay, well, wait, before you go, here, do you want to see that? Go see Max von Essen. He's not taking anything off during the show, but you'll get to see that. Max, is that a tattoo?
Yes, it is. It's a little
What
sun
is that?
It's a little sun I've had for a really long time. I was a little thinner in that photo. I desperately wanted a tattoo, and I just love the idea of now it feels like kind of dated, but at the time I really wanted the sun and the energy of the light like that. It felt like anytime I look at it, I feel energized from it. So
do you still feel that way?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I forget that I have it because it's been so long now, but I still love it. Yeah,
I didn't even notice it till just a second. So I said to you that we first met when you did Auntie Mame with our friend Charles Bush, but I did not know till last night. I actually saw you long before that. Hold on now. See, I almost put up a picture of Fran Drescher. There's no point in that. Where's the picture that I wanted to show?
Now.
Okay, I saw you in the musical version of Dorian Gray. Was it Los Angeles?
Yes, in North Hollywood.
Oh no, North Hollywood. That's right. Was it the Hotel?
I forget the name of the theater actually because I don't know LA very well. Yes, I was in
so that guy in the middle was allegedly your portrait. I mean, you're both really hot, but like he doesn't really look like you.
No, not really.
And
no,
for people to see, would you call them like twins? Like I don't know, they're both really hot. But
no, but once you're in the theater and people like know what is being accomplished, and that plus then he started being like covered in makeup, and he's the one, that's the portrait that starts to totally decay.
Hey.
I stay exactly the same, so he started just like falling apart very quickly. So you kind of forget about that. Plus, that body was good to look at.
Pretty good to look at. Well, your body too. Come on,
I had to approve him.
Thank you.
Casting decision,
But I remember that I saw that music. Oh God, was it not Anisha Walker? Who was the woman who sang, the black woman?
Oh, well, the younger was Nikki Renee Daniels, who's so amazing. But the mother, Amelia McQueen.
Amelia McQueen was so fabulous in that.
Oh, she's just a freaking like legend. She was amazing.
And that musical made the rounds, and they really kept trying to get it to work, and it really was going to be a big thing, and it just never happened. But how was the experience for you?
Oh, it was amazing because when I was still in my 20s at that point.
Oh God, really?
To have the opportunity to like it was Dorian Gray, so it was kind of like the Mama Rose,
create a role.
Yes, and how many shows like for young guys? There are plenty of great roles, but how many shows are literally like based around that guy, where you're like, it's your show, and it's like that kind of a load and that kind of a demand, and it was like something like 17 songs, and
it was just endless.
You never get to.
And I say that in a good way. It was real, and I believe that you had the bulk of the songs.
Oh yes, it was. It was Dorian's show, which was good and bad. It was exhausting, but it was pretty cool to get a chance to do that.
And weren't you connected to it for how long were you connected to that show?
A couple of years, definitely. And then it kind of like, then they did a big, I don't know if it was before that or after, a big regional production, a big, gorgeous, like multi-million-dollar. And I was in Dance of the Vampires on Broadway, and I couldn't do it. I remember being really just so distraught that sometimes you just too really excited. Neither of them, ultimately were that successful. So it's okay. But when you love two shows for different reasons and you can't do one of them, it's always stings, because like when it rains, it pours. And then, you can go 2 years without any projects that you're excited about. Yeah. So that was a bummer, but what are you going to do? It's all working out.
And then, but as I said, I remember vividly meeting you in the parking lot of the Ogunquit Playhouse with Charles Bush. And this let's see, hold on, where is it? Auntie May.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And that was like a 2 or 3 city tour. Was a Ogunquit?
Yeah, 2. We did that and Bay Street Theater in Santa Barbara. Oh my God! Look at that young Patrick. I forget.
Oh no, I forgot his name too.
Is he? Yeah.
But that was just such a great. Although Charles has told me, thank God I didn't go to the opening night in Ogunquit, because it was a comedy of errors, apparently.
He needs to write a chapter in a book about it. It was noises off, but in real life, like everything that could have gone wrong. The set didn't arrive on time. The truck was lost. We never got to run the show. We had to start
props
hours late. The props were missing. I remember one time I was on stage with Charles, and the phone rings, and Mame is supposed to go answer the phone, and the phone is ringing. But she looks at her, her nightstand, and there's no phone. And Charles is just like, now where did I put that phone? And I think someone like handed it, from the wings, and then she's like, "Oh, here it is. Hello."
Oh, it kills me that I wasn't there that night, because it sounds like it would have been hysterical.
Like summer stock, comedy, it was worth it because we all have like the greatest stories, but it was really cool. And obviously for your viewers, like Charles Busch, you know, he performs as a woman and, you know, very seriously, he takes himself, he's an actress when he's doing it. And there was no commenting on it. It's not like, oh, this is a drag performance, just Charles Busch playing Auntie Mame and, you know, very serious. And, but of course he's a brilliant comedic actress.
Right. Well, in the old style.
Yes, in the old style, like the film of Auntie Mame.
Right.
And it was just really cool. No commentary. We just did it, you know, took it very seriously. The incredible play, you know, that led to the musical.
Which was such a great play, by the way. I had never seen the play. I've seen the film, obviously.
Excellent.
And then you got to do Mame, and there you are with Jerry Herman.
I know. Aren't I lucky? Like how I think that was like lucky. So lucky. I mean, I think that was about 2 years later, and Mame was Christine Baranski, Vera was Harriet Harris, and I was older Patrick again. The older version of Patrick. And now how amazing too, because now now you have all these trimmed down scenes, and you add the songs. It was not nearly as dense and as rich as the play, but now I had the play in me, and I kind of knew
you've got
really
the
understood.
Subtext.
Yeah. So it was just, and it was one of those musicals. It's just so beautiful. It's just such a perfect, so many of Jerry's musicals, they're just perfect classic Broadway shows that ultimately make you feel so great. And I got to hang out with Jerry, you know,
how fabulous is that?
We'd just sit out in the audience because I wasn't in Act One, and I would go sit in the audience during tech and run throughs, and we would just sit there and giggle like, you know,
Did he tell you stories? Like, did he just sit and like gossip or no?
No, not too much. I mean, we connected on like some mutual friends we had and some like casting directors that I knew towards the end of their careers, and they were casting directors like that were casting his shows when he was up and coming and, you know, running around the city. But no, we just kind of giggled and like just talked about everyone in the show and how lucky we were to be a part of it. And he was like a little kid watching, like who also couldn't believe he was there, which is crazy. I mean, after all those years, he was like thrilled to be in the audience, just watch his show with this huge orchestra and the Kennedy Center production. And
and it's his baby.
I got to meet him totally. And he was just beaming. It was cool.
Was that a role that, I mean, because you got to do it first as the play and then as a musical, that seems like it would have to be a unique experience. Totally. I don't know if you'll ever get to do that again. I don't know of anything else where it would fit.
No, and I thank you for pointing that out. It makes me appreciate it even more because I can't think of any time I've done anything like that. And I've done so few. I've done like that play regionally, one play off Broadway. I generally always do musicals, so I'm so thankful I've done plays at all that someone would trust me to just speak. But the fact that I got to do those two were just really awesome. Such different experiences, but they each like informed the other one, and they were both like such kind of wonderful, iconic productions of it that I'll just never. With such good people, you know. And I mean, Christine Baranski, forget it. She's like, there's no more of like a dream performer. She's like the most giving. She's so funny and so smart and so prepared and so kind to everyone. Like. They're you know, a handful of people in this business that are real like, oh my God, you just like die to work with them because they are just all around so awesome. And Christine is definitely one of them.
And that was a big event. I remember when the Kennedy Center did it. It was like, we've got Christine Baranski, who at that point everyone knew, which makes it even more of an event. But I'll tell you what was an event is when I saw you, and I will never forget this. I saw you in Evita. And you were Migaldi at the time. Is that correct?
Yes.
And at the end of the show, and I should tell people, Ricky Martin was the lead, and Elena Platon. Roger. Thank you. Thank you. No, I saw Elena. I saw Elena do it in the West End, and I thought she was. There's an amazing thing I will say about her is in the opening scene when the mourners are all there, and she's in with the mourners, and I didn't know her from a hole in the wall, but I just kept saying, "Wow, that mourner there's got something. She should do something." And all of a sudden, she turns around and she was Evita, and I'm like. You can spot somebody who has it.
Yeah. She's really something so unique, so good. Yeah.
But so at the end of the show, it was during the bucket season when people are collecting for Broadway Cares. And you went into the lobby. And I wanted to get out of the theater before the rush. So I was on an aisle. I'm like, I'm out. And you were there. And I said to you, oh, it was so great seeing you. And you had told me, I'm going on for Ricky. And you have to come back and see me do the role. And I went back with our friend Erin Quill. I believe Erin and I went. Now, there's something unbelievable. You get cast as one role, but you're the standby for let's just show a picture for Ricky Martin.
Oh, my husband. Look, that was one of our save the date photo before he, broke off.
That
before he broke off the engagement. Look at us and our stashes.
That's so cute. But so what was that like to have played sort of a role where you're looking at the lead male character, and knowing that you're going to eventually get to the opportunity to do?
I mean, it's crazy. It was a real unique one because it's kind of rare to sort of like already be a principal character and cover another principal character. And it's not something that it was even part of the audition process. Well, it was part of the process, but not in the beginning. That was not on their radar at all. I was just auditioning for Magaldi, and then they were watching me, and then they called my agents and asked if I would be interested, willing to, because they hadn't cast me yet as Magaldi, but in the process they were like, we also think he would be great as a cover for Che, and would he be interested? And of course, like I wasn't necessarily interested because with the stress of covering Che or standing by for Ricky Martin, give me a break. But I was interested in getting the job, so I said, yeah, sure. And then I got to work on all the material and do it in the audition room for the whole team. And I was like switching to Magaldi, and I remember like having like this big like silky flowery shirt, right, that I would have on, and it would kind of like blouse out and was like kind of flamboyant. And I would sing the Magaldi song and had like very fitted like old black jeans on. And then I had to do the Che stuff. So I'd just turn around, I would take off the shirt, and I had like a real fitted, like sexy black t-shirt. And then I would do the Che stuff. And that was all I could do in the moment to kind of like visually let them know, like, okay, let's shift now in the
versatility.
Room. Yeah. So within like 10 seconds, I was able to just kind of like switch. It was a tiny little thing, but I needed to do something in the room. And my auditions were long because I had to do the Magaldi stuff, which isn't much, but then I had to do a lot of Che stuff, and it was really thrilling. I mean, ultimately, it was stressful during the year to have to always be ready at any time to go on for him, but I got to do it many times, and I just, I became a better singer, a better actor, because there were very different sounds and styles, and Che is such a large, iconic role, and so I really grew as a performer, adding that pressure on myself and adding that the vocal demands, because Magaldi's on stage for 20 minutes in the beginning,
right?
Then he comes back on an hour later to be in the finale, which is like the greatest gig in the world. I'd be in my dressing room, get all kinds of things done, make lists. And then I got to do both of it. So I had like the experience of having like not too demanding a role, having time off backstage. And then many nights I was
carrying the show.
I mean, there are real
male side
parts there, but yeah, certainly I like really had a massive role. And it's not that I need attention like that, but it is thrilling to take on something like that and be one of the people who bows last. And you're like, oh wow, I just did that. Like you just kind of feel it's just a rewarding feeling to know you took on a challenging thing like that. And I wound up doing the role. I actually lost count because he took 2 week-long vacations,
right?
Many sick days, started to take Monday nights off. And I started to do every Monday night.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool, because since he started to take off Monday nights, I became the Monday night Che. So which means I technically had the role. So like if you look at, IBDB, Internet Broadway Database, I played the role. It doesn't just say understudy anymore. It says
you were the alternate. So
yeah, it's kind of cool thing to have, like to have played the role of Che on Broadway. It's thrilling.
Did Elena take time off? Like, did she take Mondays off? I know some Evitas do.
She didn't take time off per se, but her contract was, because it was Eva Peron. She does six shows a week. There was an alternate. Yes, there were 2 shows, one of the matinees and one of the evenings. Christina DeChico played the role, who was totally different.
Yeah, I was just going to ask.
Totally out of this world as well. Absolutely out of this world. Both of them. So different. Completely different physical types, vocal sounds. But she was thrilling.
I remember when I saw Elena do it, suddenly the show was completely reconceived, and it was much more of a dancey role, and vocally although I like her voice, it was not the voice you expected, but she made up for it with the dancing and the acting. And so I think that's got to also be difficult for somebody playing against, this is more of this type of Eva and that type of Eva.
Yes. And it's hard because when a show is associated with someone like Patti LuPone, who is so specific and fabulous and iconic, people put different pressures on, future Eva Perons. And Elena was not that big brassy singer. Elena is like a little songbird, like an Edith Piaf. She's got,
which I saw her do Piaf in London too.
Yes, and I loved it. And Elena's a real nuanced actress and a phenomenal dancer. So there were huge dance sequences that aren't normally something that Eva would do. And even me as Magaldi, we did this tango. I was like lifting her in the air. It was really thrilling. So there were new things that became thrilling that a lot of people loved. And then some people were like, no, I wanted to see it a certain way. And then they'd see Christina Gichica go on, and who just belted her head off. And that gave people kind of something. A lot of people were expecting that and wanting that. So they liked that. And you can't please everyone, but it was cool to see both of them and their, just different takes on it and different strains, because they were both, oh my God, I love doing it with both of them so much. Did I lose you? Am I frozen?
I'm coming back. Okay, here I am.
Look at you, double.
No, I know. No, this has been, technical crap. Now we've got an empty box, whatever. But yeah, I think that actually it was smart to reconceive the whole show because it turned into a different show. The orchestrations were different. The choreography was so intense that there was no comparison for me. I'm like, now I'm seeing a different show.
Good. Yeah.
Great. So speaking of seeing a different show, I said it in my review after seeing Falsettos in Los Angeles with you. I had been with Erin as well with the original cast. We were in like the second or third row, and it was so close. I'm like, I don't need to be this close for Falsettos. And Erin's like, because when you cry, I'm like, I'm not crying. And then at a certain point when she hears me sniffling, just a tissue comes over. So, when I went to see it in Los Angeles, because Christian was so magnetic in a way that I didn't expect, I said to myself, now I'm going to see somebody else who I really like as a performer in that performance, in the same production. How am I going to feel? I was so blown away by you as an actor more than anything else. Vocally, I know what your voice is. Your voice is amazing. But as an actor, you got to me in a way that Christian didn't. And so it really staggered me. So
I don't know what to say. I just really appreciate that. As someone who I know that I get hired for my voice a lot. I don't think I'm hot shit or anything. But listen, I get, casted roles that are literally, in American in Paris, I was the cabaret singer. In Evita, I was the tango singer. So it's okay. And I do a lot of concerts. Great. But to me, and as much as Falsettos was a very hard sing and a challenge to sing, because completely sung through, and it was very difficult. I don't know that I've been that challenged as an actor before that point, and I'm really proud. I'm really proud of it. So I thank you for saying that. That's all.
Well,
certainly like Christian, I was blown away by his performance. He's a genius. But it is interesting. Like, I'm just we're different people. So, and I stole a lot of choices he made. I took him because it's like, listen, it's the same production, same director. They approved of things. There were things that maybe I had a much shorter rehearsal process. So I had to really, we had 2 weeks and they had, 6 weeks, and you got to just feel like, okay, what can I do and what can I grab? But then ultimately then it's me. It's what I'm going to bring to it. And I just felt such an unbelievable connection, and especially as a gay man. And I just related so much. And as someone who didn't experience the AIDS crisis directly, but grew up during it, being terrified of coming out as gay. I thought it was a death sentence. And then to have to live it on stage every night and to lose someone and to lose Nick, and just to be horrified at the idea that people slightly older than I am experience this on a daily basis. Dozens of friends, maybe hundreds of friends lost. And I almost couldn't bear it, knowing how painful it was to pretend to experience it, thinking about all the men and the allies of the gay community in New York and San Francisco who experienced it every day. So it was just such an honor to portray that character and to do that show. So anyway, a long way of saying thank you for saying that, because it meant a lot to me to be doing that show.
Well, I was actually wondering because the other thing, and I think I wrote it at the time, is that there was a gravitas to the performance. And maybe also it's come with the experience and the age you've gone through, that it was a perfect combination of the right show with the right background and even baggage.
I think so. I think you're right. You know, I'd always loved the show, but I never connected to it in the way that I thought, oh, I'm going to be in this show. And then I saw the revival, and Christian was an old friend of mine. We made our Broadway debuts together and toured Europe as Tony and Riff in West Side Story. So like I even though I'm older, I haven't thought of myself as an older actor or a dad yet. Until the last couple of years. And I saw that revival and I watched Christian in it, who I knew we were the same age, basically. And I thought, this is who we are now. And we have this life experience, and I could play that role. And I told my agents right away, I said, keep an eye on this. If they do a tour, I want to be seriously considered, because I have to play this role. And it all worked out. Amazing. And of course, you were with a pretty good cast.
Yes. So let's talk about working with Nick, who's awfully pretty. Not bad to look at, that Nick Adams.
You know, it's like maddening, because you think, how can someone look like this and be as talented as he is beautiful, and then as funny and nice and have much of a heart as he's got talent? Like it. I kid you not, like I'm not like being hyperbolic when I talk about Nick. I feel like every interview, people must be sick of me. Like they must be like, oh, shut up. That can't be true. Nick is one of the greatest people I've ever worked with, and one of the greatest people I've ever known.
Well, he's a total sweetheart. So let's just see what he thinks. Hey, Nick.
Hi. You're making me cry. My goodness. Yes.
Oh. So first, I have to publicly apologize to Nick, because I thought I had him booked like 2 months ago, and I thought I had talked to you on Facebook. Apparently, I didn't. And once I've taken Ambien, I really don't know what's going on. And so I had our friend Eddie Shapiro filled in, and Eddie texts Nick and says, "Oh, I'm filling in for you on Billy's show." And Nick says, "What? I'm not on Billy's show. I'm happy to do it." But so
what are you talking about?
I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, hey Nick, how are you?
Hi. I'm good. I'm glad that we made this happen. I mean, Eddie texted me and was like, I'm your fill-in. And I was like, what are you talking about?
So he texts me and says, Nick doesn't know anything about this. So yeah, I know. Where are you, Nick?
I'm actually at my mother's in Pennsylvania. I just got here yesterday. I was in the city. I've been in the city, but I got a rapid test yesterday morning and went right from the doctor into my car and drove straight here. So
cool. And I should show it because it's really pretty.
Look at
it's honestly, I don't want to leave. I think I'm just gonna move here from now on.
And I will point out, you look awfully pretty for somebody in a pandemic.
Oh, thank you.
All right, that's enough about you.
Enough, Jesus.
So, let's talk about playing these roles, because really, I think to myself, when I see the shirts and the blocking, I'm like, God, you're stepping into somebody else's role that has done it on Broadway, has done a telecast, and you still have to make it your own. And I think that it's probably better that it's not just one new cast member, that's a complete new cast, because now you can build together. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely. I mean, we all found it together. We had we had a framework to work off of. We had 2 weeks to just sort of come in as prepared as we could and just discover the show together. But what we were fortunate, Max and I, is that we've known each other since I think I moved to New York. I think we met each other very early on, so we were already very close. We had such a great friendship between us. But so that was a perfect foundation for us to then dive into this really heavy, beautiful, you know, relationship and dynamic that's between Whizzer and Marvin. It's just it was easier because we already had something established than if we just had 2 weeks to be like, we have to take this on. So we already were at an advantage because we knew each other. And I'm equally, if not more, obsessed with Max than all the praise that he gave me before I came on here. But yeah, it's I think a testament to our cast and to that production. It was so easy to just feel it in your bones and make it real and be honest and truthful with that story.
And you also had great sexual chemistry. Had you ever dated or tricked or anything? Just asking.
Wait,
had you ever wanted to?
I always joke with Max because when Max was doing Les Mis, I was doing a chorus line, and our theaters were connected by this little like backstage door. So sometimes our stage managers were okay with it. If we didn't disrupt anything, we would like sneak in the wing. It's just such a cool sort of like old school Broadway memory of mine. But I'd like look off stage during the montage during chorus line, and Max would be in there like half dressed with his like big curly hair, you know, from the show. And then like we would sneak over and watch them. And so it was just, I just remember not really knowing him at the time, but being like, Hubba Bubba. Yeah. So I've always loved Max, you know, so this was fun that we got to like play pretend.
Not bad. Yeah. Not bad to play love interest with somebody he thinks, you know, kind of hot.
Yeah. It made it, you know, I didn't.
Totally. I mean, because we had to like, you know, make out in the show.
Yes,
sometimes.
You did.
Sometimes we would just whisper to each other after and be like, freebie. You know, like, it's a freebie. We're on stage.
Yeah. Now we're when you're touring, were you either of you? Well, Nick, I think you were in a relationship at the time.
Yeah, I'm still in.
You still with Kyle, right?
I've been with my partner for almost 10 years. Crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And Max, were you in a relationship at the time of the tour?
I was at the time. Yeah, I'm no longer. So.
Oh, all right. Oh, so he's available. Okay, good.
You guys can DM me on Maxie's Pad on Instagram.
Right.
But buy a ticket first.
Oh yeah, but you have to watch my live stream tonight.
Buy a ticket, and we should point out that Nick appears on the show with you.
Yeah,
I am.
Nick's on the show.
Light here.
He's
you have great lighting, Nick. You're fine. You're fabulous.
It just looks very dark. You know, it was.
It's always the beautiful ones that worry. Oh God,
he doesn't.
No, I'm
please.
Dark.
That's all right, but he worries. That's why he looks like that. Yeah. So how is it? You were both in relationships at the time. Touring is hard in a relationship, I would think.
It is. I mean, the tour was only 6 months, so it wasn't like an extreme amount of time to be away from home. I've been away, like Kyle and I have done a year of long distance before, so this was sort of easy. And I just think because I was so in love with my cast and the show that I wasn't like homesick ever, really. I mean, we missed each other, but we did have like little layoffs where we got to go back to the city for like a week, and you know, before we knew it, the tour was over with. So it didn't seem that challenging, right?
As far as tours, it was like just the perfect. I mean, 6 months. Really? We were in LA for 5 weeks.
Yeah, something like that.
We were in San Francisco for 4 weeks. You know,
see, that's nice. Long sit downs.
It went. I wish it was a 1.5-year tour. Actually,
really?
Me too.
I would go do that show again tomorrow. Certainly a year, because it was that. I mean, it was really hard, but it was just such a rewarding, beautiful show with that cast. Like it kind of. It felt like, oh, that's it. You know, when it ended, I wish we had more. So it wasn't hard. It was nice to be away actually and have like a little bit of a break and focus on the show. It was perfect.
And Nick, so I talked about Max doing the role. You had done the role that Andrew Rannells had done on Broadway. And a full disclaimer, I went in expecting not to like Andrew Rannells in that role. I don't know why. And he was the one that actually got me the most on Broadway. And maybe because I went in with like a negative thought that like, oh, I don't see it, and just rose to it. but where he has that sort of snarky edge to him, you weren't just snarky. You were just sort of like being you. Do you know what I mean? I saw you playing the role as far more good-spirited and good-natured and just, I don't know why everybody likes me and why I like everybody, and I'm just a kid and going through life.
I mean, yeah, I think I wanted to bring a likable quality to him in a way that made him, I don't know, more authentic to me, like how I could relate to him and his choices that he makes during the show, and make sense of him. But I don't know. I just think we're innately different people. So we're gonna, you know, intrinsically, I feel like I have a different approach to things. I love Andrew. I think he was brilliant. I loved that cast so much.
Too. Yeah.
But
it
yeah,
was you were the most different thing about it, really, because whereas Andrew's character you kind of see as somebody, I don't want to say they're getting a comeuppance necessarily, but sort of when they set themselves up snarkily, then when something happens, you have a different response to somebody who's sort of like more innocent. And there was just this sweet innocence about you that I found really endearing.
Heartbreaking.
Thank you. I just thought it was like, he just happens to, you know, be offensive at times without the intention of it. And if he does intend it, it's like more of like a dig to make each other, like a cat and mouse sort of thing, as opposed to like, I don't know, when he wants to hurt somebody, he does. It just, I think that James, our director, James Lapine, gave us, again, like the structure of like where to go, but we were allowed to just kind of bring it to life and create the characters on our own and breathe like a fresh perspective into them, you know. So we weren't tied down to what was already done in New York. It was like, let's take this material and let these new actors bring it to life. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think that also made it really interesting for people who had seen it with the previous cast, because you're getting a really very different take on the show. And your chemistry, as I said, was just through the roof. So, you know.
Thanks.
Also, Max, you were really good with the son. I mean, that's where I talked about the gravitas. Is there were times that you would make me cry. You really did.
You know, as like, maybe you guys all agree, but like, I think a lot of us gay men have complicated relationships with our fathers, if we still have our fathers, and there's and a lot of us won't have children, or you know, don't have children. Certainly it's such a possibility now, and so many of gay men do have children, but
we didn't grow up with that possibility.
Yes, still not the majority.
Right.
And I knew instantly, anytime there's something like, when I think about my dad and my beautiful now relationship with him, but you know, complicated certainly growing up, the moment I knew I was going to have a son in this show, like I could sometimes, in the beginning, I could barely get through some of the scenes with him. And it's so beautiful too, because Nick is so human, and he brought such charm and humor to the role. And one of the most beautiful things about Wizard too is his connection to the son, my son, Jason. Yeah. And Jason loves him so much, and it's so beautiful, and you just want the parents to like get out of the way and stop being such a mess. Here's this little kid, and then when you lose Wizard,
it brings him back together, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a father-son theme in a show can really tear me apart. So that added another thing that was so beautiful to get to play in that show. And we had a couple of really good Jasons, like who were just like what, you know, wise beyond their years. I was like, who are these 48-year-old midgets, like old ladies? They were incredible. We were really lucky, because it's hard to find terrific kids. Anyway,
Sure. And especially touring, obviously. I remember, you know, speaking of fathers, I remember, because we're now celebrating 25 years of writing my weekly column, and when I don't know when it was, I should have looked this up, but like say 20 years ago, I remember somebody had written me and they're like, oh, there's this really hot actor, Max von Essen, whose father is a fire chief. Oh. Is that what he is?
Yes.
He was during 9/11?
Yes, he was fire commissioner of New York City for like 8 years leading into 9/11. And then he retired after that, because it was just, you know, so awful and so difficult for him. But yeah, during 9/11, it was brutal time. But
the person it made it sound to me like did you have a good relationship at that time? Was it a difficult relationship? Because you're talking about now it's good.
Oh no, excellent. And when I say I would say complicated, never difficult. My father and I, like everything, no one would even have picked up on it as when I was a kid. But just here was this, this firefighter, who had this, very sensitive, creative, artistic piano playing kid that he was trying to figure out like, how do I connect to this kid? And like, what do I do? He doesn't like sports. I'm trying, so he always tried so hard. He loved me like you can't believe. And we tried. There was not, it wasn't a difficult relationship. It was just, like there's no like animosity or things that we have to work through. I love my dad and he loves me, but it was hard connecting. We were just trying to find common ground. And now, we're great. And around by 9/11, certainly, like my dad and I are very close and have gotten even closer since 9/11 because something like that changes you and changes your family. And my dad has gotten even more emotional, more effusive, and more loving to the whole family, probably because of that, He was,
cool. Nick, what about your parents? Did you have a very supportive, good background like that?
Yeah, I've been so fortunate. Yeah, they I think that I owe like all of my success and who I am as an adult to my parents. They are I strive to be like them on a daily basis, and they never expected anything other than what my passions were for me to pursue. It was like, you want to do that? Absolutely. And they both were in education, so it was like they knew a very structured, reliable, predictable track to be on with your career. And so this was like completely foreign to them, that I was going to be on sort of like a roller coaster of like unreliability, just crossing my fingers and hoping that I would make it. But yeah, I mean, they, from the time I was 9, and even when I then came out to them when I was in college, they just were like grateful that I would share that part of my life with them. So I'm really fortunate. And I'm also fortunate that my mom has this sick ass house. So no, but they're the best. I really look forward to every time I see them, and they come to everything. So I think part of the thing I love the most about this career is getting to share in the successes with them, because they are my number one champions,
We had Jerry Mitchell on, a bunch of the guys from Broadway Bears, whenever it was last week, 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
And you guys have both done Broadway Bears a lot. So let's talk about the fun of doing it, because it sounds, what everybody said repeatedly was they got to play. They got to do something that was a fantasy or something that they've always wanted to do. So Max, for you, I remember seeing you doing it, and you just were unbelievable. Was it just sort of a release?
Yes, I mean, Nick's done it several times. I did it years ago, a very, very teeny part in one number. But
with Chris Sieber, I remember, I think.
Or
maybe he was there that year, but
yeah. But
I have a great picture of the two.
A couple of years ago, I did it, and I had like, sometimes they do like a storyline with like, two people who travel through the whole show, and it was me and Mikey Cusimano, who were like these guys on like this road trip trying to meet each other in the middle, and sort of like something strips across America or something like that. Anyway, so not only do we have all this scene work and fun little interviews with special guests like Alan Cummings and all these things, but then I had not my own number, but a number where I was featured, like this big Las Vegas gambling number. And for me, I mean, it was a dream. Like when I was a teenager, I would come into the city and like sneak into Broadway Bears. I'd go to like Webster Hall, it's down there, and I was like, oh my God, I want to be part of this world. And and Nick has done more things on stage where like, he's been in, scantily clad or something, in like La Cage aux Folles or something, but I haven't really done much like that. So for me, it was something I wanted to do, and like a real like release. And it's just an incredible feeling, just like let go and get on stage and take off all your clothes and be like, screw it, And it's something that like really helped me actually as a performer, just go out there. And it's just a night of like such fun, so much love, such community, millions of dollars raised. It's just,
it's unbelievable.
Such a release. And it was awesome. We'll see if I, manage to get back there again, but my body was at a good place. So I feel like I might leave it there. There are a few images sprinkled around the internets. So I'll just leave it there.
Nick, what about you? Taking your clothes off, difficult?
Actually, yes. I don't think it's ever easy. It's like you have to amp yourself up for it. But in the moment when it happens for Broadway Bears, because it's such a, again, like Max said, the sense of community and support and energy is tangible. It's just really thrilling. It's more than, I don't know. It's like one of those times where you really feel the energy of the Broadway community, like really united. And you know, the production value of that show is just crazy. And I thought they did a great job this year with not being able to do it live, with sort of a retrospective of past hits and everything. I thought that was really smart of them.
Yeah, and it was great to see you and Kyle on there as well.
Yeah, and we, you know, I take a lot of pride in working with them for you know, since I moved to the city. I think my first year was Misbehavior, which was like when I was doing the Pirate Queen in New York, and I remember in college, like my friends would have like the Broadway Bears calendars in their dorm rooms and stuff like that. And we would just like dream one day that maybe we'd get to like sneak in and see it, or like we'd be one of those people. And, you know, so it's been a joy to be a part of that family and to work so close with Broadway Care. It's awesome.
Yeah. And again, they've made so much money. They raised, you know, I think they're up to $800,000 so far this year. And they're still, people can go BroadwayCares.org / Broadway Bears or something, but just go to BroadwayCares.org and it's all there. So what are we going to get, Max, from you in this show tonight? There's a lot of standards. There's a lot of covers. Oh, we should mention Billy Stritch, our good friend, is playing the piano.
Yes.
And it was filmed at Birdland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's really, you know, I'm like I always say this on my album is called Call Me Old Fashioned. Like, you know, so I'm like a throwback. I do standards, golden age of theater. And I try to sprinkle in a couple of newer songs that have the feeling of an older song. Like I try to reinvent my song from Evita on This Night of 1,000 Stars, which was just like this belted out song, but I kind of pull it back and do it really soft and more romantic. It feels like an old standard. So I do that, a lot of Gershwin. I do a big American in Paris medley. And then I want to just like switch it up a little too. So I do a big new, not new song, but an big like power ballad, Andrew Lloyd Webber, right in the middle, just to like change things up. And then of course we bring in Nick, and I wanted to do, I know people adore Nick and people love falsettos. So we just wanted to like change it up. I want to like have someone special on the show join me and do something that means so much to both of us. And I think to a lot of fans and friends out there, like as we saw on the road with falsettos, the show means a lot to a lot of people. And now and to a newer generation as we were traveling around. So I thought for people who may not like, you know, might get a little bored with all the standards, at least they, you know, have something like, ooh, Nick, something for falsettos. So
and how is it performing together? Now, when did you film this?
We filmed about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
And what was it like, both of you performing again? Because even though it's a live audience, I mean, there's no audience. Yeah. So you're performing kind of in a vacuum, kind of like we've been doing with these shows. So it's a whole different situation. What was it like doing that? Nick, go ahead.
I mean, I feel like Max and I always pick up right where we left off. You know, we haven't seen each other since, and up until that point, it'd been since like January or February, I think, because I left and I was in LA and when all this happened, so I hadn't been in the city for a long time. So it was like, you know, it was amazing. I wanted to like grab him and hug him, but we couldn't. We were very good about staying apart. And but yeah, to revisit that material, every time we've had to sing anything from the show at like a benefit concert or anything, we always are like emotional wrecks. It feels so real, and we both are so passionate about it and loved it so much. So it's always a gift to get to revisit it.
Well, people are, oh God, we're getting so many comments. So first, somebody is saying, yes, here we go. The beard on Max is super sexy. Woof.
I agree.
Whoa.
Max, what is this all about?
Well, I mean, you know, I have no auditions. No one is telling me what to do. So it's, you know, it's been kind of fun, like a little something different to do.
Was it something you always wanted to do? And Nick, you're very scruffy too.
Yeah, I mean, it comes and goes. My hair was like, oh, you didn't see, I had already cut my hair when I think I saw you, Max, right? Yeah, my hair was like crazy. It was really long, and I was like not shaving. You know, I hate to shave, so it's just, whenever I get around to it, I do it now. But
totally, yeah.
Well, wait, and now another one. Geez, Max, you were brilliant in American in Paris. Bravo. There you go, Max.
Thank you. One of my faves.
Yeah. Do you have favorite shows, each of you? Because I think that you're gonna. I always think you're gonna have favorites for different reasons. But is there an overall favorite experience, Nick?
Yes. Honestly, I think I never thought like anything was going to top Priscilla, Queen of the Desert for me, just because it was like such a life-changing experience, and it was everything I just at the time was just like the most joyous like 2 years of my life. It really it was such a gift. But each show is presented, so many beautiful things, and that I've taken with me that it's really hard to like pick one, but Falsettos it's a show that I've wanted to do since I was in college when I discovered it, and to get to do it with Max and Eden and Nick Blameyer and under the direction of James Lapine, who I, grew up with like Into the Woods and Sunday in the Park with George, like on repeat in my bedroom. And so that name, I just remember seeing his name on everything as a kid. And so to be in the room with him and have him, guiding us on this material that he helped create originally, source materials, like to be in the room with him.
When do you get that right? When do you get that experience?
Yeah. And it really was a dream come true, and on so many levels for me. So like a milestone I'll never forget. It's something that I will never ever forget. So
Max, what about you?
Well, Nick like really explained it well, because like some shows are like the most incredible roles you've ever played, or you work with a dream, an icon like James Lapine. But then some shows, because of the time or because of the opportunity it gave you at that time, like when he said Priscilla, it was like a real arrival for Nick, having been in the ensemble and covered, and then to have this huge leading role. It was like a real moment, and it's hard to
playing to his strengths, playing to every strength,
and to walk into a Broadway theater like the Palace for however long it was. Like for me, that was American in Paris. Out of town, originating a role, award season, a year and a half on Broadway for me. So it was over 2 years total. It was just. So was it the best role I've ever played? Was it the best show I've ever been in? I don't know. Probably not. But
for you,
experience, it was just like, I felt like, oh my God, I've arrived. I went up a couple of notches. I got some award nominations. I'm having so much fun. It was just so the overall experience, I would have to say that would be my best overall experience. But then there are 5 other shows like Falsettos, or doing West Side Story when I was younger, or Mame with Christine Baranski, actually,
and Jerry Herman being there.
Jerry Herman, or I remember doing The Baker's Wife at Paper Mill Playhouse with Alice Ripley. Like changed my life. So you could do 150 shows, which we've probably done, on Broadway and regionally, me and Nick, and there'll always be like 10 that you just go, whoa, these were unforgettable. Each one was life changing in a different way.
Somebody just posted, I recommend Max's CD. Just happened to listen to it again today. Just happened to. For no reason. There it is, right there. Product placement. I saw him perform in Delray Beach. And
shout out.
Super sexy in his Brooks Brothers
suit.
Oh my God. If you could get an endorsement deal,
Oh, I've got it.
All right, good.
They built me that double-breasted suit just for those shows. They dressed me for every opening night. They are the best in the world, and I will always shout out, and I will send people there, and they are so nice, and their suits are so amazing. Don't think of it as like old school. Think of it as like go in there, tailor it right, and the best quality. Listen to me. They're not paying me for this. I just sometimes just go to a solid old school, clothing.
Call them old fashioned,
Yeah,
I'm not calling them old fashioned. And Nick, do you have a favorite least covering amount of clothing that you've worn? I think that opening number in Priscilla was a great costume.
Oh yeah, all the costumes in that show. Oscar winning, Tony winning, Olivier winning. I mean, Tim Chappell. Honey,
and
those costumes.
Having seen, and I had oh God, suddenly now his name, Oliver Thornton, who did it in London, who I'm friends with. He was so great. And again, another situation where you've seen somebody else do a role and say, yeah, Nick's going to be really hot, but whatever. And you were so powerful and fierce. And again, talk about commanding a stage. When Max talks about that, there is a power when you're there in that costume with those people on stage and just owning it. And that really made me, and I remember telling you that backstage. It was just really incredible.
Thank you.
Although if I had to think of something you've done, I think falsettos, obviously, it's just because the depth of it as an acting, as a full theatrical experience. I think Priscilla had the theater, but I think falsettos had the heart and the depth. So, and for both of you, I've seen you both, Max. What about Anastasia? Where does that rank? Because that was quite an experience too.
It actually ranks really high, and thank you for mentioning it. Because for a lot of times for me, and I probably Nick too, like it is about like the experience, and it was like one of the happiest places and theaters and casts I have ever experienced, ever worked with, like, and that goes a long way. When you like can't wait to get to work, that means a lot. Like it was just such a well-run show, happy theater, nice producers, amazing stage manager, and fun cast, like no issues. I was there for over a year, and it was just like a blast. And also too, I always think about this, like I love Terrence McNally, so many of his shows but I had never gotten to speak his words. And obviously we just lost him, but he was still around and strong, and he would stop in at the shows, and he was really happy with me, and he would send me the most beautiful emails about how pleased he was and what I was doing on stage. And it meant so much to me that I like got to have that experience before we lost this great like giant of the theater. And I just there are these people that Nick and I have looked up to our whole lives that sadly we will continue to lose. And like anyone I had the opportunity to work with like that, or that, in fact, we were talking about Jerry Herman before, I will never, ever forget that experience. So Anastasia was like a lot of gifts all in one. And I got to work with Nick's other half in that show for a while.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say
and American in Paris.
They've been yes. That's where I got all my change.
We're gonna have to do a whole show with Nick and Kyle at some point, and feel free to not wear any clothes. What do you guys want? I mean, is there a dream role either on a film, on TV, on stage? Okay, yes, okay.
No,
give me a role. Yes. Limit yourself to one, Max, if you could.
Oh, that's hard. But I mean, I don't know why. I keep thinking, it goes back to like James Lapine, Sondheim. I would love to. I mean, there are a million, but for right now, you're making me choose one. I want to do George and something. George somewhere really wonderful. Yeah.
I see you in that role, actually. Yes, and then certainly if you've seen his facial hair, might work. Nick, is there a dream role for you? By the way, you were great in Chorus Line.
Thank you.
I can say that.
Thank you.
And on retrospective, after having seen Mario as well, you were great in Chorus Line.
Thank you so much. I had a that also. I mean, a Chorus Line is such a. I mean, it's like one of the most like iconic, musical theater pieces in history, and I grew up loving it. And so to get to do it in New York at that level was just something I never dreamed of. I never thought that it would be back on Broadway at the right time for me. Like I thought I'd be either too young or too old to ever actually get to do it.
Yeah, how perfect were you?
So it was absolutely a dream. I was beyond, out of my mind that I got that job.
But is there a role that you look at and say, and especially you're talking about age, this is a role I'd like to do before I age out of it?
I honestly, after doing falsettos, I want to someday. I think I want to play Marvin someday.
Wow.
I'm now having and feel the other side of that relationship. I really would love to do that.
That's so interesting. As a matter of fact, I think that would be fascinating to see.
And I think it'd be fascinating for me to get to do it. I really would. It'd be great.
And I could be Whizzer. I'll be Whizzer
Okay,
that would be fabulous.
Let's quit.
Maybe we
The hospital version.
Well, we can CGI. Maybe we do it on television with like special effects.
Okay.
Guys, I think that this has been
something
thrilling for me. Well, it has been something. I'm trying to think of the right word. I think the word is thrilling. No, I think it's been thrilling. And I think people have to go to BroadwayWorld.com and they have to see the concert tonight. Is it just a one time, or is it going to stream?
No,
is it pay-per-view?
I mean, if they want to watch tonight, that's fun because it's going to be like kind of interactive, I think, like a little chat. If people want to live chat. But no, then it's on demand for 30 days. So they can watch anytime. Go for it. The next 30 days, it'll be on Broadway World. So just whenever you can, if you can, check it out. And they've got this whole series is actually it's such a great idea and so amazing. It's really like the next step during this crazy time that we're actually going into real venues that we would perform in. Sure, there's no audience, but like that's we'll get there. So follow the series out on Broadway World and through Birdland, and amazing performers. I think every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 there'll be someone new, and then each time it airs for 30 days, it'll be on demand, each concert as well. So check it out.
And again, it's like you said, and also Fran was talking about earlier. We're just finding our way of how to keep performing, how to interact with people, and the fact that, and even shows like this, people can at least watch and maybe laugh a little bit for an hour and a half. So, guys, thank you. So, that we got to again remind people, Max von Essen right there, single, and he's not necessarily dating because he's in quarantine, but he's not averse to like a hot message from a hot guy. And Nick Adams, not single, but cute as a button. And me, well, clearly I'm single. Hello. Guys, thank you for playing. Nick, we have to have you back with Kyle. That would be so much fun.
Absolutely. I'm sure he'd love that.
Nick, thank you for joining us as a little surprise. I appreciate it. And say hi to your family.
Thank you for having me.
Okay,
all right.
Bye, Nick. And Max, thank you for doing this. It's been so great to reconnect with you. And definitely stay in touch, and good luck with the stream tonight.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Take care, sweetie. Bye-bye. And guys, thank you for watching Billy Masters Live. Tuesday, the original cast of Naked Boys Singing. Not all of them, but a bunch of them. And all the people behind the scenes. And Thursday, Hairspray. People from the original Broadway cast. People from the national tour. People from the film. People from the television version. You're not going to see that anywhere else but on Billy Masters Live. So thank you for watching. This has been Billy Masters Live. Of course, I'm Billy Masters. I'm driving back to P-Town because, what the fuck? I got nothing else to do. Take care of yourselves. See you Tuesday. And remember, if we're here, we're live. Bye, guys.